affected some of the space around this text. We took out our bullets and we've got some of these nested and kind of clumped together in little groupings. The next thing we need to do is we need to get them into 4 different columns. We need to create a darker background color back here. And we want our links to not be blue underlined. We're going to want white without an underline. And nonetheless, that blue, that underline, that tells people that they can click on these. So we want something else that indicates that this is a clickable item. So I want to do a background. We're going to add a fade into it so that that background will fade up just a little bit. It's going to be subtle and hard to notice, but I'll make it enough so that you see it. And then we'll talk about other things we'll do to style. So let's hop back over to the code. And now we have our 4 columns section. All right, so let's add our 4 columns in, and we're going to give each column a width of 100%. And we want the display to be flex, again, to be flexible, so that using Flexbox so that they can resize some depending on the screen width and the window width. We want a background color. This is going to be our darker gray background color with the text color, which of course is only color. No, it is not text hyphen color. It should be color is white. You can make that with the hash symbol and 6 Fs, kind of like what the background color is here with that hash symbol. It would just be F, 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 F if you want white. But we're just going to say the word white. And last, we're going to create a little bit of padding on the left-hand side of 1 REM to push some of that text over. And that's going to keep things from writing the far left edge of the gray box we're adding. So let's save that. Let's refresh. Oh, check it out. We now have 4 columns. And things are not right up on the edge, but they are directly beside each other. So we didn't give a lot of space between items. Now you can see our icons that we're going to be putting in here. Okay? So we're going to come in, we're going to change this text to white. We're going to give ourselves a background color on these links. All right, so let's hop back over to the code and let's take a look at the styling that I did for that. All right. Next is our column, still adding a little bit of flex of 1 and a margin right of 12 pixels. You could go in and change that to an REM, but this is just trying to put a little bit of space between the columns. This makes a little bit more readable stuff. So when we save that and refresh, now you see we've got 4 individual columns. So our flex is giving us that even space. And if you were to see the space between the columns, that's that 12 pixels. You could change that to 1 rem. So this is just showing you can still use pixels, you can still use rem. Using them both is not incorrect, albeit I tend to opt for rem, but I did want to call out that you can still make that a set pixel dimension. All right. Next is we're going to come in here and have our anchor tags inside of our footer. We want them to be displayed in blocks. We want each anchor tag to have it an edge to edge inside of its column. Okay? We want them to have a padding at the top and the bottom of 5 pixels, but we also want them to have 10 pixels left and right. Okay? So the next thing we're going to look at is the margin. We want a bottom margin on each of our anchor tags of 10 pixels. Again, this could be rem, this could be pixels. This is being a little bit more dialed in, getting the pixel size. Text decoration, this takes that underline off, okay? By making text decoration of none, you remove that underline. Again, we want our color of our links, not just the text, because this one right up here just gives any text in a column the color of white. But this one says any anchor tag is now going to have white as its text color. So now when we save that, we refresh, now we have white text. Okay, you notice I get the little pointer, the finger pointer, the click icon, but if you're not looking and you just scroll past it, you may miss that. So what's the next thing I want to add? I want to add that background color. Whenever I hover over top, it indicates that this is the one you selected, that there's been a change. All right, so let's hop back in here. I'm going to add two things. Here in the anchor tag, I'm going to add that transition. Remember I said we want that the background color. It won't show right now because we don't have a background color. So I'm going to take that background color and tell it to transition. And I want it to take half of a second to make that transition from the normal background color to a darker color. And then the hover is where I need to set up that background color that I'm going to transition to. I'm going to save this and I'm going to refresh, and now you see that subtle fades up to a darker color, and that kind of gives you that indication, hey, you're selecting this row. Now you also notice that the rows, they have some distance between them, but at the same time they hold everything inside of them. Sure, you could have taken it and said, hey, I only wanted to hover over this, but that right there, that longer hover background color does at least give you an indication that something here is selected. If it was too tight in, you might not notice it. Okay? All right, so this is what we've got as our background color and that transition. So these last two, while they are in two separate elements of our CSS, they work together. Okay? So I want you to work on trying to get that up and running so that you have this footer. Maybe you want to take this footer paragraph text and make it a little smaller. So let's go find that footer P, and we'll say font size is, let's say 1 rem. So let's save it, and there you go. Now you got a little bit more back of the mind. You could even say I want the color to be a dark gray rather than black. Let's take it to 7s. See if that subtly starts to go back in the background. And then we go 9s, save, refresh. You notice how it's getting a lot lighter. Let's go for B, save, refresh. Wow, it's getting really subtle now. So maybe you want to play with stuff like that. All right, next video we're going to come in, we're going to talk about these buttons and create a hover effect on our add buttons. So see you in the next video.